So we are live with another Jabmaster Radio. Um, it's been a hot minute since I have done the Jabmaster Radio. um, it's been quite a long time. Um, but I'm back again. Thought about doing it. A lot of new songs have been added. So you might be hearing some of those tonight. Who knows? Um, but let's get to it. So the randomizer is set, and the first song is going to be "Now You've Done It" from Mario Party 9. So that song plays whenever whenever you have, I think, gotten down to like I think you've gotten the boss's health down halfway is when that song appears. Anyway, super catchy song and a really fun game too. So a pretty short song. Um, it's definitely got that earwormy vibe to it. And it's I've noticed definitely listening to it. It's got the Mario Party sound font. It is got an ultra Mario Party sound font. Um, it's kind of annoying actually. Um, but Mario Party 9, fun game. Um, it's a fun game, but very hard to come by, very expensive. But hey, if that song sounded good to you, much of the game soundtrack has that sound font. Um, might be annoying to some. I could see how it could be annoying to some. At least that song. Anyway, next up is Santa Carburet. It's probably pronounced carburetor, but there's no T, so I don't know. Um, from Cars Racerama. So Cars Racerama had three different hub worlds. It had kind of a California type hub world, and then it had, or more like a Florida. No, I'd say California, like a California type hub world, and then it had a kind of an off-road type hub world. I don't really know what place it's trying to kind of reference. And then it had like a Tokyo type hub world. And this is the song that plays when you're in a race in the California hub world. And it's actually a really nice, kind of soothing song. I've listened to it while studying before. Um, yeah, it's from Cars Race-O-Rama, the third Cars game made by THQ. Yeah, really catchy song, that one. Um, Cars vs. Rama. It's a decent game. It's the worst out of the THQ trilogy, but it's a decent game. It's got some good music in it. I'm gonna say it again because the name's kind of weird. It's Santa Carburera. Um, I'm sure that's a car joke. I feel like I feel like a lot of things in that game are car jokes. 'Cause I know Cars One. It took me forever to find out that um, what are the hub world? All the hub worlds in the game um, are car jokes. um, it's like yeah, Tailfin Pass, Ornament Valley. It took me for it is surprising how long it took me to realize it's called Tailfin Pass and not Talfin Pass. For some reason, for years, I did not read the I. And then I'm like, oh, Tailfin, like car. And they're all car jokes. So I'm sure Santa Carburera is maybe like carburetor. I thought maybe that's what it might be, but there's no T. But it kind of sounds like carburetor, so I don't know. Anyway, next up is Stardust Speedway Zone Bad Future from the US Sonic CD soundtrack. I feel like the US Sonic CD soundtrack um, really does not get any love at all. It's kind of pushed to the wayside due to the Japanese soundtrack being so common. Um, the remaster used the Japanese soundtrack, and of course, Sonic Origins uses it. Sonic Generations uses it. So I feel like the U.S. soundtrack really doesn't get the love that it deserves. There is an option in the remaster to change it to the U.S. soundtrack, but it's just kind of buried, and a lot of people don't even know it's there. Um, of course, if you grew up with Sonic Gems Collection, you would have already heard the U.S. soundtrack. But in any case, this is Stardust Speedway Bad Future from the U.S. Sonic CD soundtrack. So it's kind of interesting to hear the striking differences between the U.S. and Japanese soundtracks of the Sonic CD, because the Japanese soundtrack really likes to go for a techno style beat, while while the U.S. soundtrack really tries to um, to kind of hammer in those really tries to hammer in those kind of like rock elements to the entire soundtrack, which is interesting. It's interesting the different roads that both of these soundtracks took. Um, Sorry, we seem to be having some technical difficulties here on my end, trying to get the next song set up, and it seems to really not want to work with me right now. So thank you, YouTube playlist, for just completely crashing on me. Um, but yeah, it's interesting the striking differences in the soundtrack. A lot of the U.S.'s soundtrack has, if you heard those drum beats, those like very pow, they're very in your face drum beats, and that's what a lot of the Sonic CD soundtrack has in the U.S. is, um, really rock infused, really trying to make it sound more cool in a way, while the Japanese soundtrack is very more playful and bouncy. So definitely a striking difference between the two soundtracks. They are entirely different soundtracks, but interesting. They're both ways. I think the Japanese soundtrack is more memorable, and that's probably why it's included so often. Um, but the U.S. soundtrack has some really, really good songs, like what you heard just there, and also Title Tempest song sounds really, really good in the U.S. version, and Wacky Workbench as well, which we might see those later on. Anyway, the next song up is Boss Stage from Battle Block Theater. So, if you remember Battle Block Theater, you remember that this stage plays for a pretty long time, because the boss stages are I think, split into 3 parts. At least from what I remember, right? It's been a while since I played Battle Block Theater. But this is a pretty fun song, super catchy. It will get stuck in your head, so if you don't want that, then just mute the video for the next 5 minutes and 24 seconds. But it is such a earwormy song, but it's so catchy, and it's so catchy, it's so good. Anyway, Boss Stage. So there's that. Like I said, very earwormy. Battle Block Theater is a really cool game. Should try it out. I did I think just one video on it with Ram, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to play it. The level design changes whenever you're multiplayer, which is kind of cool. Yeah, fun game. Really fun game. So next up, we have another indie game, another Xbox 360 indie game. This one's more popular, way more common. Actually, this might be by the same developer. Yeah. Yes, it is. I think it's by the same developer. I could be wrong, but I really do feel like it is by the same developers. This is Mudholes from Castle Crashers. So, Mudholes is the first level that you play in the game, the demo stage, if you will, because that's where I first heard this song, and it's probably the only song I've heard because the game's so challenging, at least for me. So, this is Mudholes from Castle Crashers. I feel like that song is actually more earwormy than the previous song, but in a good way because it doesn't have very high pitched tones in it, so it's actually a lot easier on the ears. Um, this next song comes from a very terrible game, but a very charming game. This is Rock Fantasy from Extreme Pinball. So Extreme Pinball is a game made by Epic Games, of all game companies. And it was originally a DOS game, and it got ported to the PlayStation. Um, the music is honestly really catchy, but the game itself is not very good. There's only 5 boards in this pinball game, which makes sense since it's a DOS game, but for a full price PS1 game, 5 pinball boards is really lacking. And on top of that, only really one of the boards is good. All the other ones have some really annoying issues, and on top of that, the pinball physics are genuinely terrible. So, not a good game at all. But hey, the music, pretty good. And this is my favorite song out of the group. This is Rock Fantasy. Now, you can definitely tell with that song. You can you can definitely tell it was a DOS game, based on that game's that song's sound font. That is so much of a DOS game. It can't be anything more of a DOS game. Something that's really funny is that ending bit, that bum ba dum ba da 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 da. That's actually not from the song itself. That is the sound that plays whenever you lose all your balls. That's actually the sound that plays whenever you get a game over. So it's kind of neat that they included that. But next up is a song from another bad game. This is the hub music from Megamind Ultimate Showdown. So this game is not very good. Very poor licensed 3D beat 'em up. But the hub world song is decent. I wouldn't say it's anything amazing, but I enjoy it. So let's give it a listen. Bear in mind you have to listen to that song every time you finish a level, because THQ just really doesn't like you. No, that song isn't bad, but being forced to listen to it so often is it's kind of a crime in a way. um, Honestly, by the end of the game, you are going to so wish that you would never listen to the song. But hey, on its own, it's been a while since I last played it. It's catchy enough. Anyway, the next song is another Sonic one, well, technically a Shadow one. This is Black Doom from Shadow the Hedgehog. This is the Black Doom boss fight that plays, which is the main villain, or the boss fight of the final boss fight of the hero story. This is when you fight this variant of Black Doom. You fight him again later on, but this variant of Black Doom, the one that this song is from the hero story final boss. So a lot of people say that that Shadow the Hedgehog soundtrack is very bland, and I will have to agree with them. Agree with them. But that song's really catchy. I really enjoy that. It's one of maybe three non-lyrical songs in the entire game that I actually think are pretty good. Anyway, I know this is a very short broadcast, but I'm gonna finish this off with one final song that's been in my head for probably the entire week now. um, and I've just had it in my head for so long, and now I'm forcing you to have it in your head. So this is the Sewers from the Futurama game. Now, I want to bear in mind this does not have lyrics. This is the lyrical variant, or lyricless, I guess, variant. And I know that this has been kind of a short broadcast, but this will be the last song of the night. So thank you for listening, and listen to the last song.